Now listen carefully. Can you all remember the law of demand? Law of demand, anybody having doubts? So law of demand says that there is an inverse relationship between price and quantities demanded when the other factors remain constant. So I will do one thing. I will quickly give few questions to you all. First we'll answer them and then we will continue. Then I can understand how far you have done in this heading. Okay. So please take these questions. Please write on these questions quickly. So I will give you 5 minutes time. So please answer these questions quickly. Now the second one, state the determinants of demand. Now determinants of demand in the sense, whatever the factors that decide the demand, whatever the factors that decide demand, we say determinants of demand. Now there are so many determinants of demand: price of the same product, price of other goods, income, taste and fashion, price expectations, number of buyers, population, and other factors. Like that, there are several determinants of demand. Now, can you tell me what is the most important determinant of demand? What is the most important determinant of demand out of these?
Price of the same product.
Yes, exactly. Price of the same product. So even though you have lots of determinants of demand, the most important determinant is what? Price of the same product. Right. Now, at the same time, you can remember we studied individual demand, market demand, those things and all. No? So individual demand means what? Demand made by each person in a market, whereas market demand is the total of individual demand. Demand made by each person in a market is individual demand. The total of individual demand is what? Market demand. Then the third one, what is law of demand? So law of demand states that there is a negative relationship, otherwise inverse relationship. Negative and inverse are same, right? Negative and inverse are same. So there is a negative relationship between price and quantities demanded when the other factors remain constant. There is a negative or inverse relationship between price and quantities demanded when the other factors remain constant. That means when the price of a product increases, quantities demanded will decrease. When the price of a product decreases, quantities demanded will increase. You understand? The price increases, QD will decrease. When the price decreases, QD will increase. That is the one we say law of demand. So students, remember, when you are asked to explain the law of demand, now inverse relationship between price and quantity is demanded. Like that, only with that you must not stop. You must definitely say, other factors remain constant. So that is the most important thing in the law of demand. Okay, right. Now we'll come to the fourth one. Fourth one, the kind of application has been asked. When the price of a product increases from rupees 4 to 8, QD has fallen by 25% from 400 units. Prepare the demand schedule and draw the demand curve. Now, when preparing the demand schedule, the statement has to be put in a table. Okay. Price increases from 4 to 8. Initial price is 4. The new price is 8. QD falls by 25% from 400 units. This is 400. Its 25% is 100. Therefore, the new QD is 300. Are you okay with this? Initial QD how much? 400. 400's 25% means what? 100. So 400 minus 100 is what? 300. Okay. So this is the demand schedule. Okay. Right. Now, demand curve. Are you okay with the demand schedule? Anybody having doubts here?
No, sir.
Right. Now let's draw the demand curve. So in your demand curve, vertical axis price must be there. Horizontal axis quantities demanded must be there. This is 4. This is 8. 200 and 400. Okay. So 4 rupees, 400 units are demanded. Okay. 8 rupees, 300 units are demanded. 8 rupees, 300 units are demanded. So the demand curve comes like this. So the demand curve is a straight line which is downward sloping. So why it is downward sloping? Why a demand curve is drawn downward sloping? Because of the law of demand. Because of the law of demand, which is supported by some reasons. Okay. Anybody having doubts in this demand curve? I think there is no problem in drawing this. It's very much basic matter. Right. Now, listen very much carefully. According to your text, you can remember we have studied the meaning of market. So in market, there are two parties, consumers and producers. Consumers demand and producers supply. Then about the demand, we discussed the meaning of demand. So when you talk about the meaning of demand, the willingness and purchasing power. The willingness and purchasing power at a given price in a given time period is the demand. And demand is affected by several factors. Price of the same product, price of the related goods, income, taste and fashion, expectations, number of buyers, like that. So many factors are there. Out of all these factors, the most important factor is demand. So the most important factor is price of the same product. So if anybody asks you what is the main factor that determines demand, you must say that price of the same product. And this information The information related to law of demand, you can present in a table. We call this as demand schedule. And we can draw in the diagram, which is called as demand curve. Okay, right. So we have discussed this demand curve, demand schedule, all those things. Then market demand, the meaning of market demand, the addition of individual demand. Now see this illustration. There is a product which is the rice. In this rice market, there are two individuals, Paul and Wilson. At the price of 80, Paul demands 40 units, Wilson demands 20 units, therefore totally 60 units are demanded. Price comes to 60, the Paul's demand comes to 70, Wilson's demand comes to 40, so 110. So what is happening here? As long as the price decreases, the quantity demanded of each person increases, thereby the market demand is increased. Then for these individual, you can draw the demand curve of individuals, Paul and Wilson, and thereby you can draw the market demand for both. Okay, right. Now today we are going to discuss the heading shift in demand curve. Shift in demand curve. Okay. So do you have any question up to this? Any doubts up to this? I hope there is no problem. So we'll come to the topic shift in demand curve. So before reading this, first we will take the basic idea. You know, price of the same product, price of other goods, income, taste and fashion, price expectations, number of buyers, population, other factors like that. There are several determinants of demand. All of you know that. And also you all know, out of all these determinants, the main determinant is what? Price of the same product. Right. Now we are going to discuss about the shift in the demand curve. Remember, let's say there is a demand curve like this. You observe that this demand curve is shifted to the right. Okay. You all observe that there is a shift in the demand curve, which is to the right or left side. Always understand carefully, a demand curve will be shifted. Okay, a demand curve will be shifted whenever the factors other than the price of the same product changes. Did you understand? For product the demand curve on the shift price illada in the factors change ahinalum demand curve in a same shift. Right? Product demand curve shift වෙන්නේ price නැතුව අනිත් factors එක. price change වෙනකොට demand curve එක shift වෙන්නේ. පැහැදිලිද ඒක? demand curve shift වෙන්නේ price change වල price change වුණාට මේ demand curve එක shift වෙන්නේ. price නැතුව අනිත් factors change වුණා නම් demand curve අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම shift වෙනවා. Understood? Any doubts you all have?
Sir, can you please repeat that in English?
Yeah, that means remember the demand curve will be shifted only when the factors other than the price of the same commodity changes. If the price of the same product changes, demand curve will not be shifted. If something happens other than the price of the same product, definitely demand curve will be shifted. Therefore, wherever you see that a demand curve has been shifted to the right or left, you must know that it is not because of the price of the same product. It is not because of the price of the same product. If you come across that demand curve